discussing today some ways to get rid of a pesky fairy infestation. Now, before you decide that I have no idea what I'm talking about or I don't live on the same planet as you, listen up. Oh, I should get into like full fairy queen regalia here. Yay! Isn't that great? Okay, now that I'm all fairied out. So, the other day, Wednesday, was the summer solstice, and on the summer solstice, this is the time when fairies presumably come out to play. Now, I think that they have been out to play since the spring, because springtime is when kind of tricksy things like that come out. But summer solstice is the traditional time to party out with fairies. If you guys want to leave any comments or talk to me while I'm filming the show, you can leave comments at the bottom of the screen there and they will pop up. I will try to answer all of your questions. So, fairies at the summer solstice. Now, if you drank a little too much mead or any other liquor, partied outside, played some musical instruments, maybe had some outside hanky-panky, you might have attracted fairies to your property or your friend's property. This doesn't sound so bad. Most people think of fairies as something kind of cute. They even will say things like, oh, they're cute, like Tinkerbell. But Tinkerbell wasn't that cute. Tinkerbell was kind of scary. Fairies are scary. I maintain that fairies are scary forever. I will always think fairies are scary. I had a mom who loved books, and she really loved scary stories before bedtime. I'm not sure why. So she loved to read us old fairy tales. So I've been reading old fairy tales out of books just like this one by Hans Christian Andersen and the Grimms and all of the other mostly European writers. Although there are really cool fairy tales and folk legends in every culture. But what I learned was that mermaids drag men down to the ocean and they sing them to their deaths. Fairies kidnap children. Banshees bring you to the other world. Leprechauns will steal your soul just as fast as you will steal their gold. Lol the flower crown. I feel like I look a little bit more like a white fat Frida Kahlo than I do a fairy. But I think it's better than the Mickey Mouse hair. I won this, by the way, isn't it beautiful? From Mookie Chick Mag from their May Day celebration. So check them out on Twitter. So if you maybe had a little too much fun on the summer solstice, you might find fairies in your garden, most especially, or your house. Fairies aren't always going to seem like tiny, cute little sexy ladies with beautiful little wings. It might kind of feel like you're being haunted. You might have like a changeling child hanging out in a crib. You might have things breaking all over your home, things dying in your garden, or maybe some things you don't want to flourishing a little bit too much. Either way, you might notice problems. If you need to get rid of fairies because they're pesky and awful and scary and you don't want them to kidnap your children or you, I have got some tips. Like I said, you might think I am. I don't blame you. For the longest time, anytime someone and they're a good one for fairies. Thank you, Jennifer. Things missing is a big deal with fairies, especially if they're sparkly or glittery things. Anything that sparkles in the sunlight or the moonlight or in any sort of light, fairies are going to get their hands on. They're kind of like little magpies like that. Or maybe magpies are more like fairies. I'm not sure which came first, the magpie or the fairy. Anyways, so you might notice problems. You might also notice that you're getting drunk a little bit more because fairies encourage you to party. You might notice that you hear music or bells. You might notice that things are sparkly or glittery, or you might notice weird shadows in your peripherals. You might also notice a horrific wild hunt full of fairy people coming through your yard to snatch you away. There's a whole bunch of different ways you can tell if you are fairies. Super casual, right? So if you find that you have a fairy infestation, you could do one of two things. You could be super nice to the fairies. You could try to figure out what you did wrong. You could plant some flowers that appease fairies, like foxgloves or lupines, which are beautiful and kind of odd and a little bit poisonous, so they make any garden a little bit more fun. Or you could do what I do, and you could get those fairies the fuck out of here. I'm not a fairy person. I'm not a fairy person. I'm not a ghost person. I don't like anything lurking around that I can't really see unless I can see them and talk to them or know they're there. So fairies are not my favorite. The first thing I do to get rid of fairies is my garden. I know. I didn't even have to plant it. It was already here because someone who obviously loves ants planted it. Peonies are absolutely gorgeous. They're gorgeous. These are an old Victorian style flower. I think they actually originated in Asia, but they're absolutely beautiful. Beautiful shades of clean white and cream, but others are in violent pink, like so pink it's like distracting to your eyeballs. But you can get peonies at almost any garden center. They have a really short flowering lifetime, and they're pretty much already gone by this time. I just have this big ugly green bush now. But I shouldn't say that. They're not that ugly. The leaves and everything are beautiful. They get kind of tall for a bush of flowers, and they're not very expensive at garden centers. And the best part is, the flower petals fall off like it's absolutely nothing. So this is about a quarter of the amount of petals that I harvested in one single day from my peony bush. So you get a lot of flower petals, which you can do from here. Peonies. Fairies hate peonies. It's almost like an allergy. The scent of peonies is really not appealing to them. The actual chemicals and everything in peonies, the energy of peonies, if you want to get metaphysical with it, all of that is uncomfortable and icky for fairies. So planting one in your garden is incredible. If you don't have a garden, and they don't really grow in like buckets on your balcony so well, what you do is find a friend or a neighbor who's too lazy to take care of their peony and offer to cut off some flowers or just shake the petals out. You can shake these all around your property. You can grind them into powder. You can put them in water that you water your garden with. You can put them in, house washes. You can do anything. You can sprinkle them under your bed. You can put them in a little sachet and carry them with you. They hate the peonies. You can also get them in these very cool little packs at some metaphysical stores. Peony root, and they're in these beautiful pieces that you can drill a hole into and make into jewelry, which I've seen before, and they're really nice. You can also use something like this. This is a railroad spike. I also have coffin nails, cool creepy magic stuff. So iron is another one that you might recognize actually from fairy tales, from stories about fairies. Iron is destructive to fairies. Water with a high iron content, iron spikes, railroad spikes, horseshoes, things like that are used to get rid of fairies, to keep them away from your home. And a lot of people would hang horseshoes, especially iron horseshoes, on their cribs and cradles to keep their baby safe. So what you can do, and this is my fairy crown. I think I'm going to start calling it a Frida Kahlo crown. What you can do is you can get about 4 of these. And this is general protection magic. It'll protect you from everything, including fairies, which I think is extra helpful. You can get about 4 of these railroad spikes. If you can find them from an actual railroad, that's twice as good. I happen to buy mine from a really nice lady. And you take 4 of these and you pound them into the ground at all 4 corners of your property. And not only will it keep creepy people away from you, hopefully. It's working for me so far. I live downtown and I don't have creepy people in my yard except for me. It will keep creepy people away, and it will also keep bad magic away if someone else does spells or magic and tries to get at you, and it will keep fairies from coming in. You can also take iron supplements if you feel like they're attacking you. Like I said, having a fairy infestation could feel like you are being attacked by ghosts. You could have people pinching you or touching you or poking you, someone whispering in your ears, stuff like that. It can get kind of creepy if that's a thing that you believe can happen, which a lot of people do. And if you feel like this is something that's happening to you, iron is your friend. Horseshoes are super cool. Everybody loves them. They're always on trend, and they bring in good luck. Now, whether you hang it upside down or right side up, I've discovered just doesn't matter. Different legends and different stories have the horseshoes in different directions. So I don't think it matters which way you have it. It depends on what makes you feel more like you're attracting good things. The horseshoes attract money and good things and help you if you are a bad gambler. So horseshoes are a good thing for most of us, I would assume. You can also get very fancy and beautiful crystals that have a high iron content. One of them is pyrite, which I have a huge piece of and can't find, of course. Pyrite is also known as fool's gold. It's got a high iron content, and a few other crystals do as well. Some other stuff you can do to appease fairies that are a little bit more fun is you can actually journey to the world of fairy. Now, this isn't something that I've done. Like I said, I don't really do fairies. I tend to stay away. I fall for stuff, and I'm kind of gullible, and fairies love to pull tricks on gullible people. It's just one of those things that they like. So while I tend to stay away from fairies and fairy portals and things like that, this is actually something that you can do to help negotiate out of this issue that you've gotten yourself into. Because let's be clear, although fairies will target just about anybody, you probably did something to get on their bad side, even if it wasn't on purpose. You can find plants out in the wild like verbena or vervain, which serve as kind of an access point to the world of fairy. Even things like clover and the other foxglove and lupine that I mentioned before. And trees like oak and hawthorn and ash. In fact, if you find a grove of those 3 trees all in one spot, I probably wouldn't hang around too long. You might want to get the heck out of there. This is where fairies tend to hang. This is how the fairies get in and out of the fairyland, and that scary wild hunt tends to run through there or meet up there. Not a fun place to hang out. Unless that's what you're into. I mean, if you want to run away with fairies and get drunk every day and live forever and dance forever until you die, I think that's probably kind of fun for some people. It's all in what you want to do with your magic. I tend to like getting rid of fairies with mine. You can do any sort of meditation here if you find any of these plants or trees or flowers. You can spend some time there. You can leave tiny offerings like little coins, or they love beer. They love beer and they love meat and they love honey and they love sweets and treats. So sharing some of your booze or your bonbons with fairies might get you back on their good side. You could also visit, try to talk with them. Don't try to bargain with any of them because, like I said, we're all much stupider than they are and they will trick you. And you could try to get yourself out of a mess. Okay, I'm going to start wrapping it up. So thank you for coming and showing up. If you have any questions or if you have anything that you want me to address on the next Seeker's Corner next Friday at noon, please send me an email to fatfeministwitch@gmail.com. You can contact me through Facebook message. I'm on Twitter at Fat Feminist Witch. There's a little I missing. You can find me Fat Feminist Witch on Instagram, and I love Instagram. And you can even find me on Tumblr, though I don't use it all that much. So thank you for showing up and learning a little bit about taking care of your disgusting, horrible fairy infestation. Peonies. I'm going to be giving away a little package of peonies this afternoon on the blog. So, or on the Facebook page, I'm sorry. So come to the Facebook page and enter a little contest so you can win a package of peony petals to get rid of your own fairy infestation or to keep from getting a fairy infestation. It's always good to be prepared. Thank you for sharing your info. Thank you for being here, Audrey. Thank you so much for being here, everybody, and I will see you again next Friday at noon for Seeker's Corner with the Fat Feminist Witch.